Alright, and welcome back to another exciting episode of this Touchstarved series that I'm playing. I don't know. We are starting right where we left off last time. We just got back to the Wet Wick after our adventurous day, and I think we can just hop right into it. So, as soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Purvis stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amidst the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Purvis glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Purvis at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. Okay. Not what I was expecting. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar. I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ace leans against the bar. Yeah, that does shock me. I wasn't expecting you. Ace leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. This one I wasn't surprised because I've seen him in the bar. Like, I've seen a picture of him in the bar. There, perched on the bar's counter beside Ace, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Jared's lips twitch and his ears flatten with an Ace offers him a glass. He turns his cheek. Oh my god, hold on. Bear's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ace offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff, and Ace just sniffers. Sniffers. What? Snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ace throws his head back and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ace's face. It's chewy. That's gross. Chewy? Wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. Told you this place was a nest of degenerates. It isn't Purvis and Min, says somebody who isn't even on the screen. What the hell? The sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Purvis sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Purvis's hand to his face, then soften. Interesting. Fine, you first. While they stepped forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All of the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander, Ace. Another drinking competition, I presume? There's a lot of people on the screen. Oh, is it evening already? Sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Purvis acknowledges Leander and Ace with the slightest nod, ignoring Bear entirely. Not that Bear seems to mind. He tilts his head with an impish smile. No? Sure. When he spots Min looming silently behind Purvis. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Bear with a cool look. I thought Ace wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Bear's tail gives an angry twitch. I get a CG for this. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides between Ace and Purvis. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Purvis's shoulders. You're finally taking me up on that drink, right, Purvis? I'm afraid not. We're merely escorting Kit back to their lodges. Purvis gestures in my direction, and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Don't. Kit, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Kit. They're new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fixed onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Hi. Again. Again? Wait, you've already met everyone? Ace and Bear level me with subtly amused expressions. Bear's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect they're stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. Again with the... This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. This is really weird. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Kit. I wouldn't go that far. I'm more like acquaintances? A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here. Last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues, unperturbed. Let's toast to Kit's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Curris politely declines. What the fuck? Now I'm not gonna be healthy in the future. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Bear looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Bear pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Ace cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat. Oh, God. Ace regards Leander over the tip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Kit? Oh, water. Allow me. Leander pushes away from the counter to go flag down the bartender, leaving me and Curris, and, more distantly, Min. I'm not the least bit surprised that neither has bothered ordering anything. They both seem ready to leave at a moment's notice. Water is a wise choice. Is it your doctor's duty to encourage sobriety? Curris shakes his head with a patient smile. The drinks here are notoriously watered down, most likely to cut costs, but it only encourages the patrons to overindulge. Min looks up from adjusting the laces of one of their bracers. The only reason anyone bothers coming here is for the cheap rooms and cheaper drinks. Perfect conditions for terrible mistakes. It almost sounds like you're speaking from experience. Their pale face reddens, and I look away, scowling. Leander returns with a glass of water. Yay! That I accept with a murmured thanks. He claps, drawing attention from the group. Alright everyone, let's toast. May Kit stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers! Leander, Ace, and Bear raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Curris watches with polite indifference. The water is bitter, cold, and tasted faintly metallic, but I savor it all the same. Gradually, the din of the crowded bar fades away to low murmuring. I find myself relaxing for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Kit? I'm guessing you met Curris first? It would be more accurate to say that I found them. You saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. Not what you think. Kit was in grave condition. I can hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Curris's disappointment, and catch Vare snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Curris isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arms with practiced ease without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You want to talk, considering you neglected to warn them to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got the chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Ace, and their lips twist. Ace is too busy nodding along to Vare's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice. Lost, no doubt, in an enthralling discussion. What are we talking about? I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Curris share a brief look. Then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there is something I must discuss with Leander. If you'll excuse us, Kit. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to sip my water in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low, it's practically a purr. So long as you're not, like, right next to my face. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his... Maybe. Who knows? Got business with Curris and Min, so... 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Bear has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped up on the back of his hand. His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Great. Why are you so far away? Come, join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside his Ace, but I hesitate. The smile Bear wears is sweet and distinctly sly. And with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ace will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you. And then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Bear suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Ace sets his hand on Bear's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna fall? How about we start fresh, Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Vare, hunter extraordinaire. Bear's right hand flutters to his chest and he bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Ace doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. I'm Kit. Vare considers me for a moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. Pleasure to formally meet you, Kit. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. There's only one, my dude. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze again. There's only one. I don't know how... Ace smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp cat-like eyes keep me on edge. Something about this tension is fun, huh? I didn't read it fully until it came out of my mouth. Too busy focusing on that stupid accent. It must be the exhaustion. A flash of white over Ace's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Curtis heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Bear hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. Okay. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Curtis... Gah. I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. Damn. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. Asshole. I mutter while massaging my throbbing elbow. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds, called by the commotion, circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Gross. Screw it. Too many freaks in the circus tonight. He turns his back on me. And comes face to face with Ace. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. He'll do. Or what? What happens next is a blur. Ace's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, "Hey, Ace, take it outside!" Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. Literally or figuratively. With those 4 words, the wick erupts with hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ace vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Curtis lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wound before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as I slip out a side door, a different door, while Vera leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically to the bartender. In the space of heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. Oh no, I wasn't ready to make choices. Okay, here's the thing. I have a top 3 of most interesting, and then 2 that I don't really care about. That I'm like, okay. I could still play their stories, but I don't, like, they're lower on the list. It would be later. Of those top 3, which one is the most interesting to me? Okay, I'll be a little bitch. Of all the people I've met, only one left me with more questions. Left me with more questions than answers. Bear knows more than he's letting on, I'm certain of it. And if he's feeling as playful as he was earlier, I might be able to get information out of him. Still, lingering doubts loom heavy over my decision. I really trust someone who lies so readily? Returning to the bar is slow work with the heavy crowd vying for drinks. When I find Bear, he's leaning against the counter with his elbows propped up on the edge and a wine glass raised to his lips, which he stole. Well, I guess they are free, so... Not for the first time I catch myself staring, and judging by the looks I see thrown his way, I'm not the only one. If there's a clear ring around Bear, no one else seems bold enough to cross. One ear perks at the sound of my approach, but Bear doesn't so much as look my way even when I slide into the seat beside him. I didn't think you planned on sticking around. A free drink's a free drink, even if it tastes like rat piss. Didn't you say you wouldn't be caught dead slumming in this shithole? Bear takes a delicate sip from his glass, but his tail thrashes below the bar. You've caught me red-handed. He peers at me over the rim of his glass. In the low light, his eyes glitter jewel bright with amusement. In no way. I figured my company's punishment enough for you. Bear's lips twitch, and he smiles despite himself. So, you survived the night. Are you here to praise? Are you here for praise, or will a head pat do? I feel a muscle in my jaw flex at the cruel twist to his smile. His arrogance has made a full recovery, meaning only one thing. Bear has sobered up. So much for my plan. About that. Turns out you were right, I did run into trouble. Now I can't decide if you're an oracle, an actual threat, or just completely full of shit. Bear scoffs. Most would buy me a drink before insulting me. The way you jerked me around, if anyone's owed a drink, it's me. Bear falls so uncharacteristically quiet for a moment, I fear that I've actually crossed the line. Then he props his chin on his wrist. I don't think you understand how things work here. Information is a luxury, one you flung carelessly aside. I'm not following. If you valued my words, you'd have taken them seriously. I gave you free advice, warned you of the danger you were in, and still you went prancing off to the sea spring. Small wonder the soulless didn't tear you to ribbons. My first impulse is to argue, but what he said doesn't sit well with me. How does he know what happened to me? Because he was just talking to Ace. How'd you know I left? I'm certain I wasn't being followed when I left. I have a very sensitive nose, remember? How could I forget? Do you normally greet people by shoving your nose into their laps like an overeager Labrador? For a heartbeat, Bear's eyes grow wide and flat. Then he laughs under his breath. Only the ones I like. Bear trades his empty wine glass for a long-abandoned tumbler sweating beside him. Soft lumps of ice bob in the watery dregs of whiskey. You are just going through drinks. But the truth is I despise most people. His eyes flicker over my shoulder and thin as Leander's boisterous laughter erupts from the other side of the bar. What about me, now that we've started up on the right foot? He turns, angling so he can look me over. His gaze is agonizingly slow as it glides over me. Finally, his lips quirk. I haven't made up my mind about you yet. It's a start. Or so I think, until his eyes slide away and he turns back towards the bar. Not Bear's attitude that bothers me. No, I expected that of him. It's the fact that I've got no idea how I'm supposed to hold a conversation, much less get answers when he's being so testy. And his foul mood is infectious. Did I do something to piss you off? He lets out a short breath. No. Another lie. I'm close enough to catch the subtle bristling of his tail. I'm just disappointed. People like us can't help but attract danger, yet you seek it out, and for what? Cheap thrills. I wasn't trying to get eaten by soulless. There's something I'm looking for. And you think Min can help you? Leander? Are you really willing to risk a life for the... What life? You've got no idea what I've gone through, or... Forget it. I start to rise, but... Bear touches my shoulder. It's a little more than a brush, but enough to give me pause. His eyes search mine, softer somehow than before. They couldn't even begin to Okay. I could help you if only you'd listen. How do I know I can trust you? You don't, but I'm slightly less inclined to waste your time with empty flattery or insults than those two. Is what you desire really worth risking your life for? If you knew the kind of life I've lived, you wouldn't be asking. Bear considers the condensation sweating from his glass for a long moment before speaking again. Will you trust me? For now. Good enough for me. Bear raises the tumbler to me, then snaps back the dregs. Once he's finished, he wipes his mouth on the back of his hand. Talk. Outside. If I have to smell Leander's skunky aftershave for much longer, I'll hurl. With that, he slips away from the bar, leaving me to follow the path of his long, trailing tail through the crowd. It's so cold outside that the breeze cuts clean through my bandages, freezing my fingers. But if the chill bothers Ver, he doesn't show it. He lopes purposefully down the street into an alley. As far from the wick, the bar's racket is little more than an indistinct hum. The street's as dead as the Amaryllis district was crowded. Did Ver want privacy or no witnesses? You had questions? Ask. Ver's breath mists in the dark. In the cold moonlight, his shadow stretches unnaturally long over the cobblestone street. Quickly, I've got a show to attend. Heavenly Ludist, as I'm sure I've mentioned, I can't read. He looks down his nose at me, effortlessly imperious, with one hand set on his hip. And for a breath, I'm reminded of the stark... If you weren't so pretty, I'd walk away. But I need answers, and I can't think of a better way than starting with the people I met earlier. If Ver doesn't prove trustworthy, maybe one of them will. First, I'll ask about... Should I just go down, in order I met them? I wanted to ask you about... But speaking as soon as I start, Ver mentioned Curse before, though not by name. His reaction last time was nasty, but I can't back down now, not with Ver eyeing me suspiciously. Out? Doctor. Curse. I tense, ready for a blowback, but Ver only flicks his hand dismissively. Bit of a bore if you ask me, but he's popular enough. You know, on account of his massive heart. He winks, as though the stress he placed on heart wasn't already suggestive. There's always a line wrapped around the block for his services. People can't seem to get enough of his special medicine. Probably because he doesn't charge anything. Ver's tail gives an impatient twitch. Or they're eager for a little mouth-to-mouth with him. When I grimace, Ver grins wolfishly at me. There's clearly no point in asking him anything else about Curtis. Okay. Next would be Leander. What do you think about Leander? I don't. Valid. An unusually curt answer for Ver. I don't buy it. So you're not very fond of him? I wouldn't spit on Leander if he were on fire. Ver shudders. Oh no, he'd enjoy that far too much. To call Leander trash would be an insult to manure. He's a pathetic, slimy little man-child with big, shiny shoes. I've seen mutts running in gutters with more dignity. I have to remember to close my mouth. Ace. You two seem close. You made an impression, Not surprising. He's strong, ruthless, easy on the eyes. Gives it almost as well as he takes it, even if he's awfully greedy. Big everywhere, really. It's simple, but you know what they say about still waters. I don't, but I'm too distracted by the change that's come over Ver to ask. A coy smile plays at his lips as he winds a finger around the chain dangling from his collar. Thought you didn't like most people. Ace isn't most people. He's better. Our eyes meet, and Ver's tender expression curdles. He makes a tiny sound of distaste in the back of his throat. He's more trouble than he's worth. Dangerous, too. Stay far away from him and those red-eyed freaks if you value your safety or your sanity. Is that why you scolded me for going to the Sea Spring? I really don't think Ace is as bad as you're saying. You don't know him. Not like I do. The corner of his lip twitches. Before I can ask my next question, Ver gives a frustrated growl. Don't you dare ask me about another soul. Oh no! I haven't got all night for idle gossip. But I wasn't finished asking. You get 2 more questions. Make them count. So much for being helpful, but I suppose that's just how information works in this exhausting city. No more time for idle chatter. I'll get straight to the point. Leander told me that the Cenobium imprisons people. Did he mean you? Leander's a moaning fool with a throbbing victim complex. He loves to see himself as a savior, but the only difference between his cronies and the Cenobium stooges are the uniforms. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what surprises me more, the bluntness with which Bear spoke, or the venom lacing his ordinarily silken voice. You're asking who when you should be asking why, says the asshole, pounding my questions. The look he throws at me is infuriatingly self-satisfied. Fine. Why were you imprisoned? For the same reason they'll disappear you given half the chance. I'm something special. Oh, well. Bear bows his head, gathering his hair in his hands and lifting it from his shoulders to bear the plain leather collar adorning his neck. See this collar? He cranes his neck, inviting me to lean closer. I don't want to. Looks unremarkable, doesn't it? I had assumed that Bear's collar was a personal touch. On closer glance, the thick, supple leather is molded to fit his neck snugly. But the large silver buckle seems easy enough to pry open. Touch. I reach forward to touch the buckle, but Bear's hand lashes out. Long, slender fingers wrap around my wrists, exerting just enough pressure to hint at how easily he could snap my bones. Don't you know better than to touch without asking? Cuts like a scolding teacher, but an impish smile grazes his lips. To be fair, you didn't ask me first, but also can I? Our eyes meet. His thin with amusement. No, you may look, but don't touch. He lets go of my arm. I smooth down my bandages, more to get a grip than anything else. I can't lose my composure again. By now, I fully expected Bear to begin walking away, but the fact that he's here suggests he either forgot about his warning, or he was never counting my questions to begin with. Are you saying that's what will happen if the Cenobium finds out I'm different? I'll be collared? Doubtful. They keep me around because I'm the best at what I do. What exactly do you do so well? Killing. He says it carelessly, without hesitation. As long as I wear this collar, I'm made to hunt the Cenobium's dizzying array of enemies. Monsters, soulless, noisy who grow overbold. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm bound by their will until the day I die. That's awful. Bear murmurs in agreement. It is, isn't it? And that's all you're getting from me. I really must leave now. I'll be late. That's it? Why'd you bring me here if you weren't going to explain anything? He has the nerve to laugh. Isn't that obvious? I wanted to lure you out here. Okay. You're lying again. And you're asking far too many questions for someone hiding so much. He sneers, and reflexively I shove my hands deep into my cloak. What makes you think I'm hiding anything? I don't know. Maybe it's the tough act, or the way you tense up at the slightest provocation. More likely it's the bandages. Not exactly subtle, I'll be going, unless you're willing to share some morsels with me. There's a biting edge to his playful tone. I can't tell you anything. Wrong. You can start with what you are. I take a step backwards, but my back hits a wall as Bear follows me in lockstep. I turn, only to find, how dare you do this to me, only to find his left hand resting against the wall beside my head, caging me in. Bear reaches for me. His fingers curl around my chin and lift, forcing me to meet his lidded gaze. Would you believe me if I said that the eyes are the windows to the soul? I've heard that once or twice. My eyelid twitches. Cliché, I know, but let me tell you a little secret. Bear leans in until his lashes get the fuck away, and the warm, faintly spiced scent of his hair drowns out the stench of greasy cooking fires and chimney smoke. There's nothing you can hide from me. Fair enough. His voice is so low, so subtle, I could slip into it. The betrayal, the loss of hope, the sheer desperation that drives you still to search and search to no end. I could give you something new to live for. I swallow thickly. How could he possibly know? No, this must be some kind of trick. But for once, Bear isn't smiling. All that suffering has made your soul so irresistible. His piercing eyes pin me to the spot. The look on his face makes my blood run cold. I've seen it before. Traveling through the wastes, the lanterns would occasionally reveal carcasses picked clean by starving scavengers whose eyes shone in the dark with the same ravenous hunger. Bear takes a shuddering breath. You're trembling. What if you and I went somewhere quieter, alone? No. Part of me wants nothing more than to let him take me, to surrender completely to him. It would be so easy. But I'm not going to give up now. You're late. The ludist. Bear blinks. His voice comes out soft and breathy. Shame. He eases back, and for what feels like the first time since he cornered me, I breathe. But my relief is short-lived. Nimble fingers trail down my jaw before closing around my throat. Don't do that. The touch is feather light and teasing, but my pulse still leaps. One last thing, kid. Spoken so softly that the pounding of my heart nearly drowns out his words. Call me a dog again and I'll break you. Understood? His lips curve, but there's no humor in his voice. Yes. Good. As soon as Bear releases me, I sink against the alley wall to catch my breath. He looks down on me, his expression distinctly smug. Let's get one thing straight. I ate a monster 3 times your size for breakfast. 2, actually. The first tasted dreadful, like a fisherman's old ashtray, but that's besides the point. You and I may be alike, but don't forget what I am, or what I do best. He flashes me a dazzling smile. Uh-oh, everybody's looking for me. I was gonna say, I'm gonna guess it's Leander. Leander's voice echoes from the direction of the wick. I whip around. I nearly call back before remembering Bear's apparent distaste for Leander. I glance back at Bear. Only he's gone, vanished into the dark. I'm left in the deserted alley, trembling with a delirious mixture of exhaustion and excitement. I let out a long, shaky exhale that condenses in the freezing air. Only once my racing heartbeat slows do I make my way back towards the wick, guided by the distant sound of Leander's voice. Don't worry about it. What? Alright, and that is all that we have of the game. The demo ends here, no matter who I choose. Just thank you for playing. Like I said, I definitely found a lot of interest in this. I'm interested in seeing the full version of the game and how this goes. But since that is the end of the demo, that is all that I can show you of the game so far. So, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I will definitely keep this game in mind for the future and come back to it once it is fully released. I will see you next time for another game as we wait for this one to come out.